Of winning a downhill, though. One such is Johan Engström. We're in the middle part of the course now with Engström, who usually likes conditions a lot different from here. Now at the Hallelujah section, he likes conditions which are wet, muddy and technical. But he does go well in the dry as well. He's a fast rider, expert in karate. He likes to hunt and fish as his hobbies as well. Something a little more relaxing than here at Maribor, Slovenia, for the downhill. Engström, who had a brilliant year last year, 6th overall in the World Cup and looking fast at the moment, transferred to the Volvo Cannondale team for 1999. The whole of the downhill squad on the Volvo Cannondale team changed, and he's got that time of Bastarbeva to beat, 4:27.17, and almost takes himself out of contention there, but Engström going really quick indeed. And if he hadn't have had that, he might have been even faster. But he's 2:28 faster than Bastarbeva. What a ride.
And the Swede with speed lives up to his...
Back now with Marcus Klausmann, the man who was 2nd overall in the World Cup in his debut year in 1996. His first year as a senior. What a year that was. He won at the super technical track at Nevegal in Italy. Very, very good in all sorts of conditions. Marcus, still only 21 years old, has a fabulous record in World Championships and has actually only just recovered from a broken collarbone. He broke that at the first round of the Avalanche Cup in France. He's got that time of Engström to beat, a 4:24.89, and Klausmann, the German rider, riding for B1, looking good as well. Doesn't make the same mistake as Engström made on that corner. Looking fast is Marcus Klausmann, and fast he is indeed. 2:07 faster than Engström.
And we have a new leader with a very nice ride.
Back at the top of the course with Team GT rider Steve Peat, the winner of the first round in Leger. What a win that was as well. Just 0.16 of a second faster than Volvo Cannondale rider Cedric Gracier. Peat, looking good at the moment, has had a brilliant start to 1999. He's actually won his first 5 races. Won his first World Cup back last year in 1998 and takes the flipper really well indeed. Excellent jumping from Steve Peat and the crowd loving that. This is the fastest part of the course, Blueberry Hill. Peat riding the iDrive bike. He loves this bike. He says it's faster out of the corners. He's got that time of 4:22.82 to beat. That was Marcus Klausmann, the B1 rider, and Peat sliding the bike into Hallelujah. He wants to win the World Cup, the Team GT rider, and is looking good for 1999. Wearing the #1 plate of Diesel UCI leader. Steve Peat looking fast and in control at the moment. The slowest part of the course on that corner. Technically, Peat loves the wet and mud, but he's equally at home in the dry and the fast conditions here of Slovenia. All of the riders loving this 2.8 kilometre course. Drops by about 550 metres, and he's looking good to beat the time of Marcus Klausmann, looking very, very good indeed. He's going to obliterate Klausmann's time. Klausmann's time, 4:22.82. Steve Peat beats it by 10 seconds, 10.11 seconds. What a run.
The silver medalist in the World Championships last year. He rides for
Back onto the fastest part of the course with yet another B1 rider, this time Gerwin Peters. We've had Bastarbeva leading so far. We've had Marcus Klausmann leading so far. Now, can Gerwin Peters beat that time set by Steve Peat? The tall, fast Dutchman, looking good at the moment. Really did come to some extraordinary form at the end of 1998. An amazing 2nd in the World Championships. He was 3rd in the last round at Arai, and takes the slowest part of the course, slower than Steve Peat there, noticeably slower. And he's going to have to go some to beat that time set by Steve Peat, 4:12.71. He might have to go some to beat the time of his teammate Marcus Klausmann as well, 4:22.82. Klausmann in 2nd, Steve Peat in 1st, and Gerwin Peters is not going to beat the time set by Peat, but will he beat Klausmann's time? I think he does. 4:21.95. He's over 9 seconds slower than Pete, though. He moves into second. We are with Oscar Says now, the Mountain Dew Specialised rider. Had a very, very disappointing run at Leger in the first round. Only 54 in those awful conditions. But Oscar Says can pull out some brilliant, brilliant runs. He did in the first round of the World Cup last year in South Africa. He had his best ever World Cup result of a third there in conditions actually very similar to those here, and on a course that was actually quite similar. Fast and dry, and Says looking smooth at the moment. He actually reminds me somewhat of Corrado Herrin, the Italian rider riding for Sintesi Velici. But Oscar Says, the Mountain Dew specialised rider, has got to beat the time of Steve Peter, 4:12.71. He's not going to do that. Can he beat that time of Gerwin Peters of 4:21.95? It might be close for the specialised rider. It's going to be very close indeed. 4:22.03. Oscar Says moves into third spot. We go back to the fastest man in the semis, Nicolas Vullios, the Team Sun rider, the 7-time world champion, looking as smooth as usual. My word, what a rider this guy is. Never come lower than first in the World Championships. The second man to do the World Cup and World Championship double after his compatriot Francois Gachet, and takes the flipper really well indeed there. Good jumping from Vullios. Not quite as wild as Steve Pete, but equally as high, equally as fast. The guy is looking excellent at the moment, really is controlled. Noticeably the smoothest rider on the circuit. Actually looks like he isn't really going that fast at all. He was disappointed with his run at Leger in the first round, only third there. 13.5 seconds slower than Steve Pete. But he knows the time that Steve Pete has set. He knows that time of 4:12.71. That's the time he has to beat. He had indications of that higher up on the course when he started, and he's looking a lot smoother than anyone else on this course. What can you say about this guy? He won his first World Cup race outside of France last year in South Africa and went on to win 4 out of 8 races. And he's going to be very close to the time set by Steve Pete. Steve Pete's time was superb in itself, but it looks like Nicolas Vullios' time is going to be even better than that. The man is out of the saddles, pumping really hard, 3:46 faster than Steve Pete. What a ride. Can't believe that win. My word, his first win of 1999. He's being congratulated there by Pete himself.
If I hadn't have known Steve's times, I really don't think I'd have ridden like this. I'd have finished the race with a similar time. Perhaps I'd have finished with a better one. But I took some risks, and I rode it 100%, and at least I managed to stay on my bike.
Last year's World Cup winner and world champion is back on top of a podium. And what a win. Pete's time had destroyed the rest of the field, whilst Gerwin Peters was third. 2 Mountain Dew specialised riders ended up on the podium, and neither of them was Sean Palmer. He finished 11th. Pete retains his overall lead, though, as Peters moves up, and Palmer and Gracier, who wound up a disappointing 18th, drop back. Volvo Cannondale still topped the team standings, but there was some welcome relief for Team Sun. Vullios' win was their first of any description this season. Next week we're in Italy as the downhill and dual riders fly high above Nevegal. I'm Mark By Siegel, and I'll see you then.